All right, if you've ever been in the world of qualitative research, you know this exact feeling. All your interviews are finally done, the recordings are all saved, and you're just looking at this mountain of amazing, rich data. It's honestly one of the most exciting parts of the whole journey.
Of course you are. You are so ready to jump in, start highlighting, finding those patterns, uncovering the insights that are going to make your project sing. And that feeling, it's completely normal. But, and this is a big but, it can also be a total trap.
Because right as you're about to dive in, that's when it starts. That little voice of doubt. You get that sudden sinking feeling in your stomach. Oh no. Wait, did I actually read through that last transcript, or did I just kind of assume it was good to go?
And then, boom, another thought hits you. Did I call participant number 3 Sarah in this document, but then Sarah without an H over here? A tiny detail, right? Wrong. That one little inconsistency could create a massive headache for you down the line.
And then the really big one lands. What was the exact lens, the specific theory I was supposed to be using to analyze all this? And just like that, all that amazing forward momentum you had just grinds to a halt. And it's replaced by this wave of anxiety.
This right here is what our source material calls the false start catastrophe, and it is, by far, the most common pitfall for new researchers. You can end up wasting weeks, maybe even months, going down the completely wrong path, only to realize you have to go all the way back and fix these basic foundational problems. But here is the really good news. This catastrophe is 100% avoidable. There is a structured, professional way to do this. A way to make sure that when you finally start coding, you are building your entire analysis on solid ground.
And that brings us to this brilliant idea, the Qualitative Coding Readiness Checklist. I want you to think of it just like a pilot's pre-flight check, right? A pilot would never, ever try to take off without making sure the engines are working, the flaps are good, the navigation is set. It's the exact same principle for your research.
So what's actually on this checklist? Let's break it down. First things first, you got to secure the plane itself. And in our case, the plane is our data. This is all about getting your raw materials in absolutely perfect shape before you even think about hitting the runway.
This really means checking 3 crucial systems. 1, are your transcripts not just finished, but are they actually proofread? Are they saved in a consistent format? Little errors here can totally mess up your analysis. 2, have you decided on and documented your transcription conventions? Like how you're going to note a long pause or a word you couldn't quite hear? Consistency is absolutely key. And 3, are all your participants' pseudonyms assigned and logged securely? This isn't just a tiny detail, it's a critical ethical necessity.
Now this is what ready looks like in the real world. Our source points to something called the Riverdale study. Notice they didn't just say, yep, transcription's done. No. They noted it was done by a professional service using a specific standardized system called Jefferson-like conventions. Why does that matter so much? Because it creates a process that is repeatable and defensible. Anyone who looks at their research knows exactly how they handled the data. That is the kind of detail that screams professional readiness.
All right, so your data is locked down and secure. Awesome. Now what? Well, now you've got to confirm your flight plan. This is all about knowing exactly where you're going and the specific route you're going to take to get there.
This means asking some really big foundational questions. Are your research questions totally 100% locked in and approved? Have you double, even triple checked that they can actually be answered by coding and not, say, with statistics? And this one is huge. Have you confirmed your specific qualitative tradition? Because, coding for a grounded theory study is a totally different ballgame than coding for phenomenology. Choosing the wrong approach here, it's like trying to use a map of Paris to get around Tokyo. It's just not going to work. And look again, the Riverdale study example just nails it. Look at the specifics here. The research questions were approved by a certain date. The tradition is confirmed as reflexive thematic analysis. This isn't just some vague idea. It is a documented, concrete decision. It becomes the North Star for every single analytical choice you make from this point on.
Okay, so the plane is secure, the flight plan is confirmed. Now it's time for the final check, your instruments. These are the specific tools and frameworks you're going to be using to navigate through all that data during your flight.
Okay, a really big part of this is knowing how you're going to develop your codes. Are you going to be deductive, where you apply a theory that already exists? Or will you be inductive, letting the themes just emerge from the data itself? Or maybe a hybrid of the two? The key thing to get here is that this isn't a decision you make on the fly. You have to decide on your approach before you write a single code. It fundamentally changes how you see everything.
And this last section here covers all those final, little, but crucial systems checks. I know, it looks like a lot, but let me just highlight a couple. Drafting a positionality statement, that's where you reflect on your own biases and how they might shape your analysis. That is absolutely critical for research integrity. And creating a realistic timeline, that's probably your best defense against burning out. Trust me, every single one of these items is designed to prevent a specific disaster from happening later on.
So when you add it all up, the full checklist from our source outlines 15 distinct checks. 15 steps that literally take you from that feeling of chaotic panic to a state of calm, professional confidence. And once you've gone through and ticked off all 15 of those boxes, you finally get to hear the words that every single researcher has been waiting for. You are cleared for coding. The groundwork is done, the foundation is rock solid, and now, the real adventure can finally begin. And with that clearance, your path forward suddenly becomes so much clearer, doesn't it? You can move with confidence into your first cycle of coding, then your second cycle, and then on to writing up your amazing findings. And you get to do all of it without that nagging fear in the back of your mind, that panic we talked about, that you might have missed something fundamental right at the start. This is the goal. This is what you're aiming for. A clear, documented green light. An official sign-off that says you are ready to go, with a concrete, realistic target to aim for. This is what turns research from a stressful mess into a managed, professional project. So the next time you're sitting there, in front of that mountain of data, just buzzing with excitement and ready to dive in, just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself this one simple question. Your research is on the runway, ready for takeoff. Have you done your pre-flight check?